It took me on a deep dive on epigenetics and genetics and the study of like what stress does to the body and how it can trigger disease.
Is what we crave for the most. We all want to do it, but we've never really been taught how.
This man is an agent, he's a producer, he's been in Hollywood for over 20 plus years. He's also an author of an Amazon bestseller, Shut the F Up Method.
Written by author Jorge Perez. He wrote this book with the catalyst of losing both his parents.
Do you think your parents' cancer was from stress?
I do. I think it's like we keep lowering our immune system because we're constantly talking about issues, and eventually, you know, the body like slips you the bill.
How do you look for something great when your parents have cancer?
Well, I'll tell you what did happen towards the end. With my mom, her whole life, she was always so scared. She would even tell you, I'm too scared to do this. And at the end, she ended up being the bravest person in the world because she kept going with all these treatments and she wouldn't stop. The plane was going down.
Wow.
And it was super vivid.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, as it was going down,
How you guys doing?
Great.
I'm kind of getting used to this, like, Tom Cruise trailer. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
And just a disclaimer, my voice is usually not this sexy. It's a little sexy, but I'm bringing back Lindsay Lohan from back in the day.
Can't afford that.
So I'm so happy you guys are here tonight. I'm so happy the Soho House is hosting me. I'm so happy you're hosting me with your 4 lovely chickens and your cat that I love. And she's got the best setup. It's like modern day farm. And you're gonna hear a lot of things tonight. But what I want to leave you with most importantly is for you to consider that we are all leaving way too much money on the table when it comes to the quality of our lives. Okay? And that is because of the way we talk. The way we talk about the world, the way we talk about our friends, and especially the way that we talk about ourselves. Because you see, it doesn't matter how many personal development retreats you've done, or how much therapy you've had, or how many ayahuasca trips you've done. Maybe that matters a little. But if we don't transform the way we talk, then it's never going to stick. It's almost like exercising, right? You can go to all the greatest boot camps ever, but if you're coming home every day and it's pizza time right before bed, it's not going to matter. You're not going to hit that potential, right? So just like we have to shut our mouth from that pizza, we have to shut our mouth and stop the epidemic of complaining, okay? And when I say complaining, I'm not saying that you order something and you get the wrong order and then you don't tell your waiter. If you order the chicken, get your chicken, all right? What I'm talking about is when you go around saying how you always get the wrong order, how this place always has the wrong order, how everything in your life is the wrong order, etc., etc. That's the kind of complaining that I'm talking about. And for me, it all kind of, I found the glitch of the machine of complaining, and it happened through probably the hardest thing that's ever happened to me, which I lost both my parents to cancer, and it was my dad in 2019, my mom in 2022, and my dad was leukemia, my mom was breast cancer that metastasized, right? And of course, after you lose both of your parents to cancer, you start thinking about genetics, right? And the whole world was looking at me like, oh, what are you gonna do? And luckily, I found the work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, which, does everybody here know who he is? Anybody here doesn't know who he is? Raise. I love it. 2 people in the back. 2 people in the back. All right. Just to give you the quick rundown, he's a doctor that does these great meditation retreats where he teaches epigenetics and quantum physics. And in my story, I really focus on epigenetics, which is anything above genetics, which is what can the effect of stress in the body, what can detonate different diseases because of stress, right? Your predisposition genetics. And what I learned is that genetic predispositions are like Christmas lights. You know, you can have all the Christmas lights in your house and it's fine as long as you don't like them. But what lights are genetic predispositions? Being in a constant state of fight or flight. Okay, studies are showing that people are living 70% of their lives on fight or flight, and that's not sustainable for the human body. That's what makes it collapse. That's where neurological diseases start getting triggered, where predisposition diseases start getting triggered, and so on and so on. So then I started thinking about my parents. I started thinking about how my dad was so traumatized by what happened in his native country of Venezuela, and how the government took his business away, and how he would get so upset, and I would see like rage in his face whenever the topic would come up, which would be all the time. And then I started thinking about my mom, who lived in constant fear of money and the trauma from the divorce, and how she would just ruminate on this and would not stop. I got into the work of Dr. Joe, and the genesis of the book was actually my first time volunteering, you know? And I'll never forget this. I was in the medical team, and Dr. Joe was on stage, and he was talking about quantum physics, and basically talking about how when we put attention on anything, energy grows, right? So you put your attention on life is good, you're going to get more of that. If you put your attention on people are shady, then that's what's going to grow. And then we went on break, and I went to like the staff room, and I see that the staff is like complaining, right, and gossiping, and I'm like, oh, nobody's paying attention. and then I go to the volunteers, and they're also like complaining, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I go outside, and the participants were all complaining about the food, and I'm like, wow, nobody's doing what this guy's telling you. And then I told Dr. Joe's number one, I was like kind of joking, but seriously, I was like, man, you guys are nuts. Nobody's doing what he's saying. What kind of business are you running? And she kind of laughed, and she was like, well, what are you going to do about it? And I paused, and I'm like, I'm going to write a book about it. It's going to be called Shut the Fuck Up. And that's how the book was born, you know, because I found a glitch. And it's almost like we can't be doing these calculus formulas if we didn't master addition. And not complaining and really speaking clean is mastering addition. Now, this process, this method is not about repression, okay? It's about mindfulness. I will never advocate for people not to speak their mind or let it out, right? But there's a way in which we can stop detonating so much our fight or flight by the way that we talk. And as many of you already know, but I'll go through it a little, like our survival mechanism is great. It was super, super handy when there were dinosaurs chasing us and we had to run, right? But now what we got, just Amazon Prime is 2 hours late. And we're still freaking out like we've been chased to death, right? So again, nothing wrong. I think our fight or flight is amazing. You know, I think about like CNN or Fox News, right? There's a reason why they're constantly showing stories about murder and war, because that's what activates our fight or flight, and that's what we watch. And that's where I think it's such a mic drop situation, because our very own fight or flight alarm system that's trying to keep us safe by saying, hey, go watch where the problem is so you know where there's a problem so you'll be safe. It's the same mechanism that's killing us by stressing us out. And again, and it's not Fox News or CNN's, it's us. How are we monitoring what we consume? Okay? The method, I want to have, you know, my whole thing is that you got to be pragmatic in life, right? You got to make it easy. Not everybody's into self-help or personal development. So I'm like, all right, so how can I create a tool that makes sense, that your average person can get behind? Just something that's filled with common sense. So I decided to make the 10 commandments of the shut the fuck up method. And I'll go through a few, and I won't go through all because I want you to get the book, because it'll just be too boring. And I can't wait till the lovely Dr. Tara Perry interviews me, which is going to be the meat of the whole show for you guys. So my commandment number 1 is, if you're going to talk smack about people, don't use their name. Use my friend. That's it. Like, mind-blowing, right? Like, how can we start injecting anonymity when we talk about people, so we're not assassinating people's characters? So tell me again, what's your name?
Frank.
Frank, and you're?
Jackie.
Frank and Jackie. So let's say Frank, Jackie, and Jorge. We're the three amigos, right? So, you know, Jackie and me, Jackie, she's my girl. I love Jackie. But in the last 4 times that we've hung out, you know, Jackie's had this little pesky habit that she forgets her credit card. And she's like, hey, Jorge, can you cover it? And I'm like, yeah. By the 4th time, I'm like, damn, girl, you and your little habit. All right. So then me and Frank, we're boys, we hang out. And then he tells me, oh my God, Jorge, I gotta tell you, man, Jackie, she is so generous. We've been going out to dinner nonstop and she's always paying for me. And I'm always like, God, man, I love this woman. Like, she's got no agenda. She's great. And I'm looking at Frank, go, bro, what? And then I'm going, that's BS, bro. She's so cheap, blah, blah, blah. And I do my thing. Very innocently, we're 3 friends. In that one incident, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. I assassinated her character. Again, innocently, right? Things that we do. But I also polluted his idea of Jackie. So now subconsciously, his reticular activating system is going to look for it. And all of a sudden, something's going to happen. He's going to come back. Oh my God, you're right. She's so cheap. We went thrift shop shopping and she made me buy all the shirts. And it's done. So I invite people, I invite all of us to, you know that beautiful scene where there's a still lake and you grab a pebble and you throw the pebble and you see the ripple. What if we become the kind of people that think about the ripple before we throw the pebble? What if you see your friend's girlfriend at a party and she looks a little flirty with a guy, and what if you don't run the next day and tell your friend what you saw, but you think about the impact that that's going to have on that person? That's all. And you could still say there's no right or wrong, but what if we actually take that moment and stop being so reactive, right? And then maybe we start asking questions instead, and then find out that they either broke up or it's not that serious. And then we don't have to create that impact, because that's what we're doing constantly. We're injecting conversations in people's lives, and we are taking down also their immune system by worrying them. I mean, listen, the news are the news, whether you like that guy, that